What's up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel where today we are looking at the story of the dragons. Hopefully you will enjoy today's video. If you do, a like rating would be appreciated. On the story of the astronaut video, we got over 5,000 like ratings, so if we could smash that for this video, that'd be an awesome goal to set. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, and also remember to click that small little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button to just make sure you are staying up to date. Anyway, without further ado, let's do this. Back in the 1930s, thousands of years after the Apothecans sent meteors of element 115 to Earth, on April the 10th of 1937, the Imperial Japanese Army discovered element 115 meteor fragments in a swamp within Japanese territory. And so upon discovering this, they built the Rising Sun Facility, a place where the Japanese would do research on this element, and in order to oversee its operation, they created Division 9. Division 9 was a Japanese group set up by the Emperor of Japan to do research on element 115 at this facility. And so Division 9 began on their research. They used this newly discovered element to create weapons, equipment, things that without this element wouldn't have been possible. And one of the things they created was a prototype of the ray gun. As time went by and Division 9 continued with their research, on August the 18th of 1940, during the battles of World War II, as per Germany's request, the Japanese Imperial Army handed over the Rising Sun Facility to Group 935, although Division 9 remained involved on the site. Group 935 and Division 9 were now working together at Shinonuma. After Group 935 and Division 9 had been working together for 2 years, on November the 5th of 1942, Takeo Misaki was dispatched by the Emperor to oversee the work of Group 935 and Division 9 at the Rising Sun Facility. Takeo was told that he needs to go and spy on Division 9, because apparently the Emperor was suspicious, and so Takeo, being his loyal servant, did exactly that. But as we know, the Emperor betrayed Takeo and he was taken prisoner by Group 935 and used as a test subject in Richthofen's experiments along with Nikolai and Dempsey. As Takeo was now captured and being used as Richthofen's test subject, Division 9 carried on with their research at Shinonuma. But as we know, shortly after the zombie outbreak happened and the Rising Sun Facility was overrun. With the zombies killing all of the members at Shinonuma, that was the end of Division 9. Now that was the original timeline, but as we know, in an alternate one, things are a little bit different. In this alternate timeline, whilst Division 9 were working at the Rising Sun Facility, they were having some problems. Because the Rising Sun Facility was located in the middle of a swamp, that meant it was hard to get supplies to the members of Division 9, and so would have to resupply the facility from above, using planes dropping crates of food, equipment, weapons for Division 9 to use. And whilst working at the facility, a member of Division 9 wrote this in his diary: "I shut down the power for the night. We must conserve gasoline, so I am told, because the Emperor is in no doubt of the usefulness of our research here at the Rising Sun Facility, and that the resupplying of the facility will now occur every other month rather than our usual scheduled weekly drops. Hopefully, the new meteor site produces higher grade samples, one we can actually use. Wait, is that a plane I hear? The resupplying's not scheduled for another week. I see a bright light in the sky." Of course, the bright light in the sky that this employee is talking about is the Aurora Borealis, the portal that appears in the sky of Shinonuma. And the plane he is talking about is the one that Peter McCain is in. Peter McCain at this current moment was flying over the facility in a plane and about to jump out. He was looking down through the open window, he jumped out of the plane, but instead of landing in the Shinonuma facility, in this timeline, he goes into that Aurora Borealis and is later spat out at Stalingrad. But as you could see, Division 9 were having problems with power, not able to keep the generators up and running because they were running low on gasoline, and that was because the supplies had been cut low. Instead of having a drop every week, it was now every other month. So Division 9 was struggling, but still continuing on with their research, Division 9 discovered that on an island in Pompeii, there was a mass supply of this newly found element 115. They knew that on this island of Pompeii, using the element 115 on that island, they'd be able to do bigger and better experiments. And so requested to the Emperor that he will allow them to do construction on the island. But whilst waiting for the Emperor to accept their request, the Division 9 facility was once again overrun. Due to the zombie outbreak on April the 12th of 1942, the Rising Sun facility was once again overrun. But instead of Division 9 being disbanded, this time the Emperor accepted Division 9's request. Because he was so impressed with the final results done at Shinonuma, he approved construction of the new Division 9 facility, where he assured the Division 9 employees that he will not spare any expense in advancing the research. The Emperor wanted Division 9 to do bigger and better experiments, to create things that had never been made before on the island. And so construction went underway and the new Division 9 facility on the island of Pompeii was built, where once again in this timeline on November the 5th of 1942, Takeo was dispatched by the Emperor to oversee the works of Division 9, this time at the island facility. But once he got there, Takeo couldn't believe what he saw. Division 9, having expanded on their experimentation, were now including the use of prisoners, Division 9 staff, arachnids, and mystical beasts. Division 9 and Group 935 were working together, where both groups came up with a deal. Division 9 would create and provide Group 935 with dragons, and in return, Group 935 would owe them a favour. And so, with this deal being set, Division 9 got to work. In the labs on the island, they began creating dragons. In the facility, you can see we have eggs, pods for them to go with, we have blueprints of the dragons that they are trying to create, the layout, how they will work, how Division 9 plan to control them. And upon completion of these dragons, Division 9 wrote a letter to Group 935, which said, "The specimens have been manufactured to be asexual. We felt it was best to remove the primal urges of the sexes, as it will make them far easier to control. That being said, they are still extremely dangerous. You must have the mechanical control collars and the proper frequencies set and applied when the specimens reach the juvenile stage. After seeing what they are capable of, your stalemate on the Eastern Front with the Russians will soon come to an end." So these dragons that Division 9 were creating had not yet reached their adult stage. As you can see in the labs, they were still pretty much in their eggs. And Division 9 were creating these weapons for Group 935, so then Group 935 could use and control them to defeat the Russians in Stalingrad, and what they would hope would lead to Germany winning the war. Division 9 had resurrected the ancient beast, and it was ready for Group 935 to use. And Takeo, whilst at the facility spying on Division 9, saw what they had made, and so reported back to the Emperor and told him that the work being done on the island was unacceptable. But again, similar to the original timeline, once again the Emperor betrayed Takeo. Takeo was taken prisoner by Division 9 and was used as a test subject for their organic plant-based experiments. And whilst Takeo was imprisoned, the dragons were now ready. They were let free to wreak havoc in Stalingrad. Under Germany's control, the dragons fought against the Russians' robots. Of course, the Russians, using stolen Group 935 schematics, created the giant Gigan robots. And so in Stalingrad, there was a battle between Germany's dragons and the Russians' giant robots.
Directive log 240.2. The German dragon units have proven devastating to the Russian ground forces. The enemy have nonetheless found a weakness to exploit. A prototype weapon known as the Assalon Lance uses 115 charged rounds to weaken and penetrate their hide. The Russians have been quick to retrofit this new weapon onto their surviving mech units.
And whilst at Stalingrad, one of the dragons was killed. We can see it lying dead on the floor with its stomach ripped open, how probably by one of the giants or killed by one of the planes in the air, but we can see one of the dragons is dead. And that essentially is the story of the dragons. A creation by Division 9 given to Group 935, and then Group 935 used these in the Battle of Stalingrad. Using the controllers, they were able to, well, control these dragons and have them fight against the Russians' gigant robots. Of course, we know eventually Stalingrad, Gorod Krovi got overrun by zombies, so it was a battle between the dragons, the robots, and the zombies. And when our characters travel to Gorod Krovi to collect Nikolai's soul, we use these dragons to our advantage. We can call them in using the controllers and ride them and have a pretty good time. So anyway, that is the story of the dragons. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, this has taken ages to make, and as I always do, I always want to give you guys the full background so you understand absolutely everything, not just cut in halfway to, you know, Zetsubo no Shima and just start off from there, because I understand that a lot of people will be confused, so it's worth me going through absolutely everything that relates to the dragons. And that's exactly what I always do in these videos, or at least I try my best. So if you have enjoyed, a like rating would be appreciated. Make sure you let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Also, let me know what other story of videos you want to see. Make sure you are subscribed. Remember to click that little bell notification icon. And of course, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.